Hi guys, Samantha from Jessama Tutorials here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create faux snakeskin stone. And so you're going to need these two texture steps that I showed you how to create a few days ago, and some of you might have guessed what stone we're actually going to be making today in that video. If you did, well done, you'll be looking forward to this tutorial. So these are the two texture steps that we've made. Check out that tutorial if you want to learn how to make them. And now we can get started on our snakeskin stone. So the first thing we need is some white. Then I also have some ecru and some raw sienna. Let me just bring that over. Okay, so we've got a bunch of that. Now, we want quite a bit of white compared to the other colours, so let me just bring over some more. And these I just want to use as accents. So let me just take these, move them to the side, and I'm just going to chop these into pieces. And this is a good tutorial to use off-color white that you might not be happy with. It might have little grey bits in it. Great tutorial to do that with. So just take each of these pieces and roll them into a log. The logs don't all have to be the same length, they don't have to be the same width. The whole time, really completely random is fine. I just take all of these little pieces and roll out logs. Okay, then once you've done that, you also want to roll out some strips of your ecru and raw sienna. And these need to be quite a bit thinner than the previous pieces. Just gonna pop these in. So they're just supposed to be a slight accent. So I'm just going to stick them down onto the edge of some of my pieces. And then we're just going to pop those all together like so, completely random. Doesn't have to be in any particular manner because we're going to be creating a marble now. So just squish that together. Oh, and also I'm using Polymer. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in the beginning, but I just thought I'd mention that now. Okay, and I'm just rolling that out, like so. Then just squiffle it back together, like so. Smash it out. And I want to try and keep it in a roughly triangular or square shape. And then I'm going to run that through the pasta machine on my thickest setting. Okay, then I'm going to fold it in half and run through again. And this is just going to create a little bit of a blend. And it doesn't have to be in the same direction every single time. I might roll in a different direction this time. There we go. And I'm quite happy with that. We've got some blending going on, completely different colours. I might just roll it through one last time. There we go. Right, quite happy with that. Okay, so now I just want to trim off this edge here and this edge here. Just tidy it up a bit. Get rid of any bits you're not happy with. And just pop that to the side. And then I want you to roll out a piece of black on the thinnest setting of your pasta machine. Okay. Bring this over. Take your black. Smooth that onto the surface, like so. And then I will flip it around, and I'm just going to quickly get rid of the excess black. Because we can use that again now, so just go pop that back wherever you keep your black. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to run this through on my thickest setting again, and I'm going to be stretching it out. I'm going to be lengthening it. like so. Then I'm going to take it down so that it is 1 millimeter thick, and I'm going to stretch it again. Okay. And this will make our black pretty thin. It will also make our white pretty thin, and we'll now be able to put it into our texture stamps. So now I'm going to just bring over some cornstarch. Okay, I'm just going to take some of that. I'm just going to put a fair amount onto the surface. Just dust that over so that we have a good coat, because I don't want to stick it in my polymer. I don't want it to stick inside my polymer clay stamps. So just rub that till you get rid of the excess, and then I'll blow to get rid of it. There we go. Now I'm just going to take this, and I want to just work out how much space I have for the textures. There we go. Put that to the side. We'll maybe use that in a little while. Go. Pop one to the side. We're going to be using two different textures. I'm going to be using the wide one first. Place this black side down, and you can either put some cornstarch on the back, or you can just use a nice wet sponge for this. Stand up, put your entire body weight into it, and start pressing this into the texture stamp. And the wet sponge prevents it from sticking to your fingers, which is important. Okay, then I'll flip and do along the other side. And I'll do the exact same thing with the other texture. Okay. I'll just lift that out. Here we go. Looks pretty good. Gently press that down onto the tile, and let's see how this one came out. That one also came out pretty well. And gently press that down onto the tile as well. Right, then trim away the excess. Like so, because you don't want that to get in the way while we're shaving this. Okay, there we go. Now you need a flexible blade to get this right. Okay, and I'm just going to start with one. Gently pressing that down. And now we're going to start shaving. It's giving me some trouble about sticking down. Might start down here. There we go. Seems to be somewhat stuck down now. Sorry, I had a bit of trouble with that. There we go. Just shave. And it doesn't matter if you're if you don't get, you want to go a little bit deep in some areas, you want some areas to be a little bit shallow. You just shave it. It does not need to be a perfectly accurate mukumegane. And I'll repeat with the other one as well. There we go. So now all you want to do is gently burnish them out. So just grab a piece of plain printing paper and rub hard against your clay, and this will just smooth out any divots you have, and just in general get rid of all the cracks and marks that you get from shaving. And now you can see that I've not shaved it perfectly. I've given it a very messy shave actually, and that was on purpose. It gives us a lot of it gives us a lot of variety to work with when we start creating our cabochons. So that's definitely something to go for. Don't do it too much. You don't want the entire thing to look like that. Some you want to be shaved accurately, some you want to look a little bit more messy. And then we're going to rip out some pieces and we're going to create our snakeskin stone. So there we go. Pretty much got that all trimmed up. Okay, now bring over some cabochon molds and some black clay. Okay, so I've got a few different choices here. I've got donut and some other various molds. Any cabochon mold will work though. Okay, so I'm going to grab a bit of black. I don't need too much. And I'm going to start out with this one. So take your black and you want to roll out less than what you think is going to fit in the mold. And then just start pressing it in. Mold it to the right shape, and I'm just going to shave away any excess we might have. Okay. Then just use a roller to roll that flat. I'm not worrying about appearances just yet. Because I had some over the edge there. You can see it was over the lip. Okay. Now choose one of your pieces. I think I'm going to go with this one. And rip it like so. And then place on the surface. There we go, just like so. Okay, and just continue doing that until you are happy with how much of the cabochon is covered. It's completely up to you how much you want on there, but I think that's pretty good. Take that and then apply it into your cabochon mold and squish down firmly because you want to get rid of all of those gaps. So you need to really work this. And this was why I was saying you need to apply, insert less black than what you think you're actually going to need, because you're going to be adding clay. So now I'm just giving it a thorough press, and I can see from the back pretty well what it's going to look like. I might press it a little bit more. And keep in mind, I'm going for kind of a faux snakeskin stone. You get lots of different varieties, but you can do this in many different colours. You don't have to do it in these kind of brownish colours. I think it looks quite nice like that, but it's not absolutely necessary. You can go with a non-faux stone effect and just create a pretty cabochon. And I'm just busy getting rid of the excess that's on the sides. And then just giving it a final roll. And I'm going to have to clean up the sides. I prefer to do that once it's out of the cabochon mold. So I'll press it down onto the tile. Let's see. That didn't stick to the tile, that's fine. We'll just lift it out the old-fashioned way then. And quite a bit of the time, a lot of that excess will get left on the mold. And if you're having trouble getting it out the mold, like I am here, you can pop it into the freezer to firm up the clay. There we go. Okay, then I'll just take a flexible blade and just trim away this little bit of excess on the edges, not that much. And I find that's easier to do than trying to use a blade to shave it. It also means that you're not at risk of damaging your mold, because if you use the blade sometimes you can accidentally cut the mold and create divots in it. So personally, if you have a little bit of excess, it's just better to sort it out once it comes out of the mold. It's a lot safer, your mold will stay in a much better condition for a longer amount of time, and it's just as easy, if not easier. Just tapping in the edges. Okay. Then gently give it a smooth. And there we go. Okay, so now that that's done, I would then pick that up and I'm going to pop that into the oven for a full hour at Primo's recommended temperature, and I'm going to do a bunch of other ones. Okay, so here are all of the cabochons out of the oven, and you can see that I made a donut as well. Now with the donut, you might want to clean up the center area, and all you have to do is you just have to run your blade over it, and it will generally get rid of any excess bits that might have been around the edge. There's generally not a lot. There you go, much cleaner. And the rest are all good to go. So now I'm going to bring over a resin mat, and I'm going to be putting resin on these. And now I find it's best to elevate them off of the resin mat. In fact, you don't even have to use a resin mat. Let's not use a resin mat. I'm just going to position them on my tile. So I'm just going to take some blue tack. You can even use clay, it's completely up to you. Just take something that you can stick to your piece essentially. Stick it to the bottom. And stick it down, and it's going to elevate it off the surface, and it will make resining a lot easier, because sometimes with the resin it will drip right down off the edges because it's domed, and so having it elevated means that it won't spill off onto the surface that your piece is working on. Hopefully that made sense. So just take all of them, stick a little bit on the back, and then we can get back to resining. There we go. Now I'm going to be using this resin today. You can also use Teresa Salgado's Deep Shine. That will work as well. Just take this. I've just got a brush and I'm just going to apply a little bit to the surface. You don't need a lot. And then just use a brush to gently spread it over the surface. And then when you're done, and you've done it with all of them, pop it into UV light, and I like to leave it in there for at least half an hour just to make sure that it is fully cured. You might need to apply more resin. I like to start off with a small amount and then see how I go. Okay, they're out of the UV light. Now all we have to do is just take them off whatever you were sticking them on, and just remember to clean up the backs as well. And now you can use these for whatever you want. The donut I'll probably just string on its own, but the cabochons you can include in other projects. Okay, so you can see, pretty easy and simple to do. Now one thing you do want to do is, sometimes you will get some resin drips. I'm not sure if the camera can pick them up, but they are there. All you do is you take a dull tissue blade and scrape it along the surface, and you can see there, it picked up all those little drips. Very easy way to clean up your workstation. And so that's basically it for today's tutorial. I hope that you enjoyed it. It's very simple, very easy. We're trying to make faux snakeskin stone, but you can do this in many different colours, and it just looks like a really cool technique that's just fun to do. So have some fun. If you would like to support this channel so that I can continue doing videos on YouTube every single week, please do consider becoming a patron. You do get a bunch of exclusive tutorials for patrons. You get a lot of different tutorials, lots of faux tutorials. You also get coupon codes to my Etsy shop, so please do consider becoming a patron. And as always, I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.